Good morning. My name is Dawson. I'm the Chief Executive of the Royal Photographic Society and I'm delighted to be with you at today's AGM for the RPS Travel Group, although very sorry not to be with you either in person or live online, but I hope that this video will do in the meantime and perhaps I can join you next year as well. I'm particularly grateful to Kath Phillips, who I met up with a few weeks ago. And she told me a great deal about what the travel group are doing at the moment and about some questions that you have. So I'm going to try and address some of those questions in this video today. Since this is a video for the travel group, I thought it would be useful to share with you a sense of place about this beautiful building in which I am sitting today and which I hope you will come and join me at very soon. So RPS House is located on the estate of Paintworks in Bristol, which is a development that is very exciting actually and is really coming into its own at the moment, having been in construction site really for many years. The building itself has 4 floors, and on the ground floor there's a new shop, there's a cafe area opening, and there's our theatre, which is where our distinctions assessments take place. We show lots of films, all that kind of stuff. On the second floor is this gallery, which is an extraordinary space. It really is. It's so rare to come to a space like this, which is absolutely pristine. The lighting is perfect. You can really appreciate photographs in the best possible conditions here. On the floor above this is our education floor, which has many stunning rooms, including a library and a big space which you can pull all the blinds down in to make it completely black and open the secret cupboards to show a sink and turn the whole space into a dark room. And on the top floor we have where our staff live, of course. So please do come and see us as soon as you can. During the past year or so, the RPS has achieved a huge amount, and it's done this in spite of the circumstances that have been so difficult for everybody of the COVID pandemic. And I think our first real achievement that should be top of everyone's list is to have carried on. And I think that the remarkable way that volunteers throughout the country, throughout the world, have continued to collaborate to support the RPS together with the staff team to deliver all sorts of programs has made a huge difference to the lives of thousands of photographers. And I've seen the feedback from those people. It's absolutely tremendous. It's so moving to know that photography kept people going through those dark years. So whether that's the work of the groups, the regions, the travel group itself, of course, or the distinctions assessments, all sorts of other things that we've done, it's made a massive difference to people. But in the sense that was a necessary response to an emergency, we've learnt a great deal. So some of the online techniques that we have developed have meant that we can engage with far more people than the RPS has ever done before. Workshops would regularly have hundreds and hundreds, in one case well over 1,000 people attending, whereas that's never happened before. And we need to keep hold of that. What we've learned should now enable the RPS to continue engaging with many more people. That's really exciting. The second big achievement, I think, was the launch of the new strategy entitled Photography for Everyone. And that name itself means a lot. The RPS, I think, for a long time, and we found this with our consultations, has sort of struggled with its sense of identity. Who is the organisation really for? And I think we've now found the answer. And the answer is everybody who loves photography. Whether you have an expensive, top-of-the-range camera with an arsenal of lenses, or whether you just love taking pictures with your smartphone. We want to be there to support people at every stage of that journey. And that's a big mission, but it's one that the RPS is now in a great position to deliver. And as part of that strategy, which had a great deal of input from all sorts of people all around the country, around the organisation, with trustees and staff all pulling together to help create it, there are some brilliant ideas coming, and I hope that you've had a chance to take a look at that. We're supporting the best of the ongoing activities, so we're not taking anything beloved away, but we're creating all sorts of new things, which perhaps we'll come to in the second bit of this video. A third achievement, perhaps Less interesting, but no less important, is about addressing the finances of the organisation. For a long time, the RPS has really struggled with its finances. It's lost quite a lot of money year on year, and although it still has substantial reserves, that's not a position that we can continue to sustain. So in the last financial year, we beat our budget by a really significant margin, coming pretty close now to a break-even position, which is what we're aiming for at least this year or perhaps next year, and that will put us in a much stronger position for the future. We need the organisation to be able to function on its own business terms, and then we can draw in new money to make new things happen. And that's really the sort of essence of the strategy. Another great achievement I think you can see on the walls around me today. This exhibition, the Generations exhibition, tells the story of people who survived the Holocaust, the horrors of some of those concentration camps that I'm sure you know about. But it tells the story of their lives after that and their legacy to the world, some of the stories of their families and the things that they did next, which is a story you don't often get to hear and is absolutely fascinating. A lot of the people pictured in these photographs haven't spoken about their experiences, even to their families, until they took part in this exhibition. And we had an event last year at the Imperial War Museum, at which we brought together 45 of those survivors, and it was such a humbling experience to meet them and to meet the photographers who had created those portraits and for whom it had meant so much. Another achievement, I think, is the International Photography Exhibition, the IPE, which I hope you are familiar. This has been running now for 164 years. That's incredible. And each time it's growing in diversity and quality and in engagement. And this year, the exhibition that will be on these walls very soon drew entrants from 114 different countries. It is a real international exhibition now in so many ways, and I really hope that you'll come and see it when you get the chance. When we created the new strategy, one of the things that we felt was most important to put absolutely at the forefront of it was this sense of inclusion, that photography is for everyone. And it's not enough just to say, well, of course, everybody can join the RPS. We need to understand what are the hidden barriers to joining, because we truly want everyone to be part of this organisation. We know that there are issues around the cost of joining, of course, but there are lots of other barriers to joining as well, around the way that we present ourselves, the language we use, the types of activities that we encourage, and the way that we share the experience of what it is to be a member of the RPS. We don't want to be seen as exclusive and stuffy. We want to be seen as friendly and welcoming and supportive. And to help us achieve that, we created a group that we initially called our Critical Friends, which then became the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And this is now a really fundamental part of the organisation. I think creating this was a really significant step in the journey of the development of the RPS for the future. And finally, the other big change that's happened in the past year is around the frameworks of the RPS, the systems of governance. Several of our trustees and our president as well took a real leading role in this to essentially take some documents that went back hundreds of years and to update them with modern practices of governance. What we're trying to do is to make the organisation really transparent. This is part of the inclusion thing, but it's also about being really fit for the future as an organisation, so everybody can see how we operate, anybody can engage with us and see themselves on a pathway to becoming a trustee, to becoming a decision maker in this organisation. So right now, as spring is unfolding around us, you find the RPS a hive of activity. There's a lot going on at the moment. Some of it, as you intimated, is a little bit boring, but very important. And this main activity is about the replacement of our CRM system. Many of you may not know a great deal about CRM systems. I certainly didn't until I came into this job. But the system that we have, it underpins everything that we do, whether that's the background database for our membership or for distinctions, or the way we organise events. All this information that bubbles through onto the website and the way we interact with members comes through the CRM system. And it's going to make a huge difference to the way that everybody interacts with each other once we get this right. But it's taking up a lot of time. So please watch this space. You will all see a big difference in the way that you interact with the website in all the different ways once this system goes live, which should be in June. Another piece of work that's taking up a lot of time at the moment is our response to the Ukraine emergency, the appalling invasion by Russia of this democratic country. We put out a statement straight away, and now we're working on a fundraising effort. So the huge number of really prestigious photographers, honorary fellows and fellows of the RPS have contributed prints which we are selling online in order to raise funds for the disaster relief effort. And if you're watching this, then please do go and take a look at that after this video. We're about to launch a new project which we've been putting together for some time. It's supported by Arts Council England, which is the first time, I think, in a long time, if ever, that the RPS has had a substantial grant from the Arts Council. And this is a really big part of our new strategy, is to work with them and other grant makers to create new projects like this. This project is a partnership with Action for Children, and we are going to be offering photographic resources and workshops to young carers all across the country, of whom there are thousands, to teach them photographic techniques and give them new skills, a sense of value and enjoyment, and from that we will then draw photographic contributions together and collectively make this new portrait of Britain's young carers, which will be a touring exhibition. In a week's time, the new IPE exhibition will open and be on these walls, which will feature some incredible work, including my favourite, which is a series of portraits of defectors from North Korea taken by a South Korean photographer. They're really powerful, and you need to see them in person if possible. They really are amazing. And finally, the other thing that we're working on at the moment is to make this building much more of a kind of full-on experience. We don't want this to be somewhere you come just to visit an exhibition on one day and then go away again. We want it to be somewhere you come to experience all of those different aspects of photography that make it exciting, whether it's to come to talks, workshops. We're building a new bookshop downstairs with books that you can only buy in person here. There's going to be a cafe. There's going to be a new display of historic cameras that have been donated to us, about 200 cameras that essentially tell the story of photography through cameras. Can't wait. We've also got new areas of the building which will have photographs on them. So really, we want there to be photographs everywhere you come here. It's going to be a really lovely place to visit for families, for enthusiasts, for everyone. If we're going to deliver the vision that is photography for everyone, then we can only do that if we do it collaboratively. We need to all pull together behind this single idea. The new strategy, as you've seen, is divided up into three areas: inspiration, creation, and connection. It's the idea that we take the greatest, most dynamic, exciting photographs and make them accessible to everybody, that we help people to create and make their own photography. And through connection, we help people to share the experience of photography, whatever that means to them. And this is really where a group like the Travel Group and our other groups and the regions and the chapters all really come into their own, around this sense of community. Really that lovely thing that I think photography as a practice can be quite a solitary one. But it's through the RPS that we create a community, that we create projects that enable people to work together towards shared goals, or to come together and share their achievements in photography, the stories that they tell. And this is really the fundamental value of this organisation. I see feedback about this all the time. And the travel group should be, absolutely the forefront of this, because you're telling the stories of people's places and the journeys that they take, whether literally or metaphorical journeys in those places. And that's really exciting, really important thing to be doing. I think that there'll be a lot of people asking me questions about how, as a group or a region, they can help to deliver the strategy. And of course, there are lots of interesting aspects of that strategy, particularly around well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being, that relate to photography, or photography young people, all those different ideas. They're really good. But first and foremost, it should be about nourishing your own community, really getting to know those travel photographers, what it is that they want from the group and from the RPS, and making sure that sense of communication gets passed around between us. We don't want to tell you what to do, but we want to make sure that sense of community works. As I mentioned, one of the things that is coming up is the emerging strategy for youth and younger people. This was a big part of what our members told us they would like us to be doing. And we recruited last year a young lady called Elise Wooten, who's very experienced in working with young people, and she's creating a new strategy for us about how we can bring children and young people into photography better and support them on those journeys. There's currently very little out there for young people. I know as a father of an 11-year-old who loves photography, so I think there's a real gap in the market and a great opportunity for us here. And as that strategy emerges, then there may well be opportunities for groups like the Travel Group to offer things for children. So let's wait and see how that shapes up. The next thing is National Photo Day. We're still working out exactly what this is going to look like and getting sponsorship and support for it, but this will probably be a big galvanising day for us, RPS-led, that will probably take place in the spring of next year. And really, I'd like this to be an opportunity for all of the different parts of the organisation, groups, regions, distinctions, education, exhibitions, everything that we do, to try and focus on this one day or on the lead up to that day, on which day we'll ask everybody, whether you're a member or not, just members of the public, everyone, to share a photograph. But we'll share more details of this with you very soon. Another of the fantastic ideas in the strategy is the appointment of a photographer laureate. This has never happened before. We have the support of Kensington Palace for this through our patron. Again, we're looking for support for this, financial support and other types, but we hope to launch this in the autumn. So more on that very soon as well. The next exhibition to come here after the IPE will be the Pink Lady Food Photographer of the Year competition, which came here last year for the first time and was absolutely sensational. More photographs on these walls than have ever been hung here before. Bright pink everywhere, and huge numbers of apples everywhere as well, which all went to food banks, I can like to assure you. But it's a great experience, so please do get involved in that, which will be here in October, I think. Another development that we're putting into action at the moment is the improvement of our online sort of skills. I think at the start of the pandemic it was forgivable to have a pretty kind of amateur approach to the way that you did online streaming, but now that we've been doing that for over a year, and given that we're the RPS, we feel that we really should step up a gear with that. We're trialling a new approach downstairs, which is actually happening as we speak, with the current documentary distinctions panel. We're streaming in HD, we've got a much better camera setup. We're soon going to move that to a 2-camera setup, and hopefully all the sort of video content that emerges from here very soon will be much improved from what you've seen until now. So I hope that's given you some little snippets into what we're doing here in Bristol. Really, this is the office of an international and national organisation. So although we're in Bristol, I really do hope that you will feel this is your home, that you can come here often and we'll come to you. Let's make sure that we create a truly collaborative organisation now to really realise the vision of photography for everyone. Please do send me any questions that you have after today, and I hope to see you all very soon indeed.